Is it audible, guys? Are you able to hear me? Can anyone respond? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we were discussing about files concept, right? So when Python programmer is dealing with the files concept, so how many steps are involved? 3 steps are involved. Okay. So what's the first step?
File opening.
Opening the file.
Opening of the file. So what's the second step? What is the second step?
Operations on file.
So performing of operations upon the file. What's the third step?
Closing the file.
Closing the file is the last step or third step we can consider. So as a programmer, as a Python programmer, or as a C programmer, or as a Java programmer, you have to follow these 3 steps when you people are dealing with the concept of files. So in the last session, in the previous session, we discussed about the first step, about what? Open function. So this open function is going to accept 2 parameters. So if you do not pass the second parameter, by default it considers the mode as the read mode. So files are of 2 types, text files and binary files. So text files will accommodate text kind of data. Binary files are going to accommodate binary kind of data. So binary in the sense collection of ones and zeros, combination of ones and zeros. So those kind of information will be available. So that kind of data will be accommodated inside of the binary file. So if you people are dealing with the text files, so as part of the mode, that means while passing the second input to the open function, that string should not be ended with what? P. So if you want to deal with binary files, then that string which we are passing, so the second input which we are passing to the F open function should end with the B character. So please remember, guys, always modes has to be reprinted. Mode is always reprinted in lowercase. So you should not reprint the mode in uppercase. So if you do like that, obviously it leads to an error. It's the syntax that you should remember. Okay, so let us discuss about the second step. So performing of operations upon the file. So if first step, sorry, not first step, second step. So to perform operations upon the file. So for what sake we are storing the data into the file? Obviously, to retain the data, that means for our future references only, we are storing the data inside of the file, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So for our future references, we need the data, right? So we are persisting the data such that the file, once data is available in the file, so the data can be referred in our future. Okay, it can be used in our future. So future references. Okay, so store the data inside of the file means what? If I want to insert some data into the file, so it's a kind of what sort of operation, guys? Write operation or read operation?
Write operation.
Write operation. So we will see the first thing. So we will see the write operation. So are you seeing the notepad?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here I have listed the 2 functions regarding write operation upon the file, guys. So how many functions, guys? Write and write lines. Okay. By using write function, what we can do? So we can write string object into the file. What we can insert? We can insert the data into the file. We can insert the data into the file. So in which format, guys? So the data which we are passing to the write is what? It's a string object. So the string which we are passing to this particular write method. So this object is written into the file. So we are having 2 methods. So first method in the form of write, second method in the form of write lines. So when I want to insert a string object into the file, so you can use what? Write method. To insert a list object into the file. To insert a list object into the file, write lines method is used. So write method is dealing with string object. Write method is dealing with string object. Write lines method is dealing with what?
List of objects.
List object. So list can contain multiple number of elements. So those each element can be considered as what? One object again. So list object. List object. So here we are passing string. Here we are passing list object. So please remember the differences, guys. So when you are using write method, what it does, it writes the string object into the file. So when I'm using write lines method, what it does, it writes the list object into the file. Okay, so let us use the first example. Okay, so write method, by using write method, I have to insert a string into the file. So let us go to our current working directory. So are you seeing the CSC folder? So in Python,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sir.
can you see CSC folder or not?
Yes, sir.
So here I'm creating a new folder. I will create a folder, so with the name called as files. Okay, so whatever code related to files are there, so those particular programs are stored into the files folder. Okay, now files will become current working directory or not?
Yes, sir.
It will
Yes,
become
sir.
working directory or not? It will become working folder or working directory. So the programs which were dealing with the files, those all Python programs will be stored in the files folder. So let us start with the first example. So which is dealing with the write method. This particular write method is used for writing a string object into the file. So what's the first step, guys? The first
Opening
step,
file.
we have to open the file, guys. So f equal to open function, not f open. F open is seen in C. Here we are using open function. So open, what's the first parameter? File name should be specified. Okay, so I'm giving the name of the file as file1.txt. File1.txt. What's the second parameter? As we
Mode
are
of
inserting
operation.
data into the file, it is a write operation. So what's the mode?
W.
W.
W should be specified. So if you see the second parameter, so as it is not ending with B, and we are dealing with which kind of files?
Text.
Text files. So if this particular string is ending with B character, mode is considered as binary, and you people are dealing with the binary files. Now what I'm dealing with, text file or binary
Text
file?
files.
Text files.
So on what basis you are identifying it as text or binary? See the second
Whether
input.
it
See the second input. See the second input. So if the second input is not ending with the B character, so that file is considered as a text file. So file1.txt is going to be accommodated with which kind of data? Text data. So means what? The characters which are visible upon the keys of your keyboard. So those data, that kind of data will be stored as it is into the text file. So if it is a binary file, so the characters which are visible upon the keys, if you are giving such kind of data to to insert into the file, so what happens? The data will be converted into the binary format and the data will be stored. So which data will be available in the binary file? Obviously binary data will be available in the form of ones and zeros. Collection of ones and zeros will be there, not the normal data. Okay, so we have opened the file in write mode. And what's the next step? We have to insert the string into the file. So string object has to be inserted. So here I'm writing f dot write. Please remember, guys, if you miss this f dot, okay, simply if I am writing write, what happens?
shows error.
It shows error because there is no method called as write function defined inside of our logic. So it is, so what's the meaning of this particular statement? It is calling a function called as write. It is calling a method called as write. Have we defined write method inside of this code? No, we haven't defined it. So because of that reason, it would lead to an error. So tell me the proper syntax.
F dot write.
F dot write has to be mentioned. Now what happens? This Vamshi will be written inside of file1.txt. Then f dot write of, then writing Krishna. Then f dot write of Godishala. Like this, I can give a number of strings. These strings will be inserted into the file with the help of f. Okay. Then after inserting the data into the file, what's the last step after performing write operation?
Close.
Close
Closing
the
the
file.
file.
So can I write like this? Close.
No, sir.
You can't.
Close.
F dot close. This is the example. So copy this code and run the program in the IDE. Okay. So I'm copying the code into the IDE, guys. Are you seeing the code window?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So writing the logic and then save the code. So these files has to be stored into
Files folder.
files folder. Python CSCC files folder. So these files will become,
So module, sir.
sorry, working
Module.
directory. Working
Working
not
directory.
module, guys. This file, what is this files representing? Files is representing what? The working directory or working folder. Okay. So wherever Python programs are located. So give the name, guys. I'm giving file example1 dot py. So after writing the logic, what's the next step?
Run.
Run the program. Fi is the shortcut. See here. Are you seeing the shell?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
what it is showing?
Nothing.
Nothing. Reason?
We have not used any print function.
So we are not trying to display anything upon the output screen on the shell window. So what's the output, guys? Error.
Vamshi Krishna Godishala will be written in file. That's it. Nothing will be in the output screen.
This file1.txt file will be created. Now, where is this file1.txt file?
In files.
In files. Means what? So files is considered as what? Working directory or not?
Yes, sir.
So this file1.txt file will be created in the current working directory. So our current working directory is what? Files folder. So because of that reason, this file1.txt file will be created in the files folder, our working folder. So go to the working folder. See here. Are you seeing now?
Yes, sir.
Earlier files folder was accommodated with only one. So that file example1, it is the source code file. So once it executes the file example1, so what it has done? It has created a file1. Okay, so this is the output, isn't it? It has created a new file called as file1. So once you open file1.txt, what it shows?
Vamshi Krishna Godishala.
Godishala. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
So this is the output. So go to the code window again. Go to the code. Now in place of the strings. Okay, so here I am ending with \n. So here also I'm ending with what? \n. Okay, are you seeing the code?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I'm doing? So to the string, I'm ending with \n. So the moment when it executes \n, so moves the cursor to the next line in the file or not?
Yes, sir.
Go to the, sorry, after making modifications, save the code, guys. So it is an example2 file example2 dot py. And you can run the program. Sorry, I will create a new file called as file2.txt, and then I will run the program. Okay, save the code, guys. So what happens with the program execution? What it does?
Vamshi Krishna Godishala in three separate lines.
Sorry. Okay. Of course, these three Vamshi, Krishna, Godishala will be available in three different lines. So file2.txt will be created or not?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
That's the output, guys. So it is going, this particular file is going, sorry, this particular program is going to create a new file called as file2.txt within the current working directory. So files is the current working directory. So did we execute the program? No. So run the program, guys. So once you execute the program, what it does? It creates a new file called as file2.txt.
Yes, sir.
So previous to the execution of this program, can we see this file2.txt on the files folder? See
No,
here.
sir.
File2 is not available. I haven't created. But when you execute the program, it is creating a new file. See here. Are you seeing any kind of output here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Are you seeing the output?
No, sir.
On the shell window. No, it won't show any kind of output on the shell window. But what's the output of the program? It is going to create a new file called as file2.txt. So when file is not existing, it creates a new file first. And then this data will be inserted into the file2.txt. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So let us check the output. So go to files folder. See here, it has created file2. Is it the output or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Open the file2. See here. Vamshi in first line, second line Krishna, third line Godishala.
Godishala.
Is it the output?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then go to the code again. Go to the code again. Sorry. Here I'm having the code. Now I'm writing f dot right of here I'm writing P2. Okay, let us make changes in the first write itself. So instead of Vamsi, I'm making modifications to what? P2. P2. So in place of Vamsi, I have replaced it with what? P2. Now, what I have done? Am I opening a new file or I am creating a new? Am I opening existing file or I am going to create a new file?
Existing file will be
File.
opened.
File2.txt is available in the current working directory or not? See
Yes,
here.
sir.
Is it
Yes,
available?
sir.
Yes, sir.
It is available. Now go to the code. So here I'm making modifications. Okay. So f dot write kit2. So here I'm writing GVK. Okay. GVK. I'm saving the code, guys. Save the logic and run the program. Now what happens? You tell me. Is it going to create file2.txt?
No, sir.
Is it going to create file2.txt again?
No, sir.
Now what
No, sir.
happens? This file2.txt, which is available upon the current working directory, that corresponding contents will be loaded into the main memory. That means in the RAM. And then what happens? Overwriting takes place. If data is already existing, what happens?
Overwriting takes place.
Overwriting takes place. So that will be the result of the program execution, right? So save the logic and run the program. So it has executed successfully. So go to the code, guys. Not go to the code. Go to the files folder. So open the file2. So what will be the output?
Kit2 GVK Krishna in 3 different lines.
Are you seeing the output?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what happened with the previous data?
It has moved to RAM.
What happened to the previous data?
Modified.
Modified. Because of what? Overwriting. Okay. So overwriting takes place. Overwriting takes place when you are opening an existing file. If that file is having some data, then what happens? Overwriting takes place when you are opening the file in write mode. Is it clear?
Clear,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay then. So let us work with the next function. Next function related to what?
Files.
Files. So what's the next concept? So next function,
Write
guys.
lines.
Write lines. So write lines dealing with which kind of object?
List of.
List object. So let us verify, guys. So example. So what's the first step?
Opening the file.
Opening the file. F equal to open. So here I'm creating a new file. Okay. So file 5 dot txt comma which mode?
Write mode.
Sir, in double quotes, sir. File 5.txt.
Super. Okay. So after opening the file, what we have to do?
Perform operation.
Write
Perform
lines.
operation. So we have to insert the data into the file using which function?
Write lines. function.
Write lines.
Write
So
lines
write lines is involved with which kind of object?
List objects.
So here I need list object or not?
Yes, sir.
So what I'm trying to do, I'm going to insert a list into the file. To which file?
File 5.
File 5.txt. So see the working folder. So do we have file 5 here?
No, sir.
Yes,
File
sir.
5.txt, is it available or not?
No, sir.
Or else we will take one more. We will give the name as file 3. So file 3 is available.
No, sir.
Not
So file
available.
3.txt is not available. Okay. I'm creating a new file called as file 3.txt. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when file 3.txt file is not available in the concerned path, so it creates the file first. So with the name called as file 3.txt. Okay. So after creating the file, what it has to do?
Operation.
Operation. So L1 equal to how list object is represented?
Square braces.
So within the braces, you can mention the elements. Here I'm mentioning GVK. Okay. Rama Krishna. Okay. So I'm giving 3 elements, guys. First element in the form of GVK, second element in the form of Rama, third element in the form of Krishna. Okay. So I'm creating list object, guys. Then after, what we have to do? They have to insert
Operation.
this list object into the list
File
object into the
three.
file3.txt.
TXT.
So which method?
Right lines method.
Right lines method. Use right lines method. So right lines of what?
L1.
L1. So why I'm passing
Sir.
L1 here? Here I can pass any list object. So list object available in this program is what? L1.
L1.
So I'm passing L1 here. Okay. So right lines
Sir,
of
no
L1.
need of F dot.
That is mandatory. F dot is mandatory. If you do not specify F dot here, what happens? Are we defining right lines method inside of this logic?
No, sir.
If such kind of user-defined functionality is not existing in the current program, what happens? It leads to an error. Okay.
Yeah,
So where
sure.
is right lines method available? So this right
In
lines
file.
method will work upon which kind of object? File object, right? So file object is needed. F dot right lines is needed. Okay. So F dot right lines of 11. So copy this code and run the program, guys. So go to the code window, copy the code, and save the logic. Save as.
Sir, closing
File.
the file, sir.
Sorry, Amma. Sorry. Okay, let us give the file name, guys. What's there in it? So file example4, file example4.py. So after performing operation upon the file, the next step?
Closing the
Close.
file.
So can I write like this?
No, sir.
So
F dot close.
F dot close. Okay. Save the logic. After saving the logic,
Running the file. See, running the program.
see here. Are we seeing any kind of output on the Python shell?
No, sir.
So output is what?
Nothing.
No. What's the output of the
GVK
program?
Ramakrishna.
GVK
See, it
Ramakrishna.
creates file3.txt. That is the output.
Okay.
So file3.txt will be created. What's the output of this program? It is creating
File3.txt.
Okay, so that file3.txt is accompanied with which kind of data? GVK Ramakrishna. Okay,
Ramakrishna.
so go to the working folder. So are you seeing the working folder? Files.
Yes, sir.
So newly created file is what?
File 3.
File 3. Open the file 3. See here, GVK Ramakrishna.
Krishna.
So I want to display these values line by line. What I can do? Go to the code
Slash
window.
n.
Go to the code window. So are you seeing the notepad?
Yes, sir.
So here I can write. Okay, go to the code window. So GVK. So within the list object, so go to the elements part. So after GVK,
Slash n.
Slash n.
backslash n. Okay. Here I can give backslash n. Save the logic. File example5.py. Then run the program. Are we seeing any kind of output here?
No, sir.
Output will be
File 5 will be overwritten.
file3.txt will be overridden. See here, go to the files folder. See the output. So earlier GVK Ramakrishna. So these strings are displayed in the single line or not?
Yes, sir.
But
So-
what happened with this program execution?
3 separate lines.
So overwrite operation, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then let us discuss the next operation. Okay. So it's regarding. Please respond.
Read operation.
Read operation.
Read operation. So to perform read operation upon the file. Okay. Here our Python programming language is supporting 4 methods, guys. How many methods?
4 methods.
Okay. To read the characters of the file. To read the characters of the file. Following methods can be used by the Python program. Okay. The following methods or functions. The following functions or following methods can be used. Following methods or following functions can be used by the Python programmer. Okay. So first function is read. Okay, read function. Second function is read of, and third function is read line function. Then fourth function is read lines method. So these are the four methods using which we can read the set of characters from the file, guys. So what's the first function?
Read function.
Read function. So are we passing any kind of inputs to the read?
No, sir.
See here?
No, sir.
So when we are not passing any kind of inputs for this read function, what it does? Okay, it reads the total information available in the file, and that information will be written. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So it reads the total data of the file. It reads the total data of the file. Now, coming to the second function. Are we reading the total data? No. How many
N
number of characters are read? Number
N
of characters are. Okay. It reads what?
N
N
characters.
characters. It reads N characters from the file.
5.
It reads n number of characters from the file, and those n number of characters are characters are written by the read method. So what happens with the first function? It reads the total data from the file, and the read data will be written by the read function. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So, read line, as the name itself says. Are we reading the total data from the file?
Yes, sir.
Read line.
One line.
Line by line. Line by
Line
line.
by line. Okay,
So
sir.
if your requirement is to read the data line by line, so which method is used?
Read line.
Read line.
To read line of information from the file, or line of data from the file. Okay, next, read lines. So write lines, read lines. So these two methods are dealing with which object, guys?
List objects.
List object. Please remember. So if you are seeing this kind of methods, guys, write lines or read lines, these particular methods are going to deal with which kind of objects? List object. It will deal with list object. So what happens here? So if you see here, it reads all the lines of data from the file, and those lines of information are stored into the list object. So each line of information is considered as one element in the list object created by the read lines method. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what it does?
It reads all the lines.
To read all lines. To read all lines into what?
List.
To a list. So what it returns?
List.
List object will be written. Okay, so let us discuss with the examples. Okay, so let us go to the examples, guys. Example. So this particular example deal with what? Which function?
Read
Read
operation.
function. So it reads what? The total data from the file. Okay, so let us discuss, guys. So here we are having, okay, file 3. I'm closing the file 3. See the files folder. So here I'm having file 1, file 2, and file 3. See the contents of file 3.
G.
GVK, Rama, Krishna.
Krishna.
So 3 lines of information is existing within the file 3.txt. I want to read the contents from file 3.txt. Okay, so let us go to the code. So first step,
Opening the file.
Open the file.
open. Which file has to be opened?
File
File
3.txt.
File 3.txt. Then what's the second parameter?
Read op mode.
Read operation. As I want to perform read operation, so mode has to be specified as R.
R.
Simply R. Why I'm not specifying B here? File 3.txt is what kind of file? Text file or binary file?
Text file.
Text file. Then after, close the thing. Then you have to start with reading the data from the file or not. So
Yes, sir.
right? Data equal to f dot read. Okay, now what happens when I'm performing read operation, when I'm calling read method on the file object, what it does? it reads the total data from the file or not?
Yes, sir.
So whatever data existing in this particular file3.txt, the total data will be read and the data will be written by this read method. Okay, so which is stored into
Data.
data variable. Now I want to display the read data from the file onto the user screen. So where is data existing now?
Data.
Data variable.
Data
It is
variable.
existing in the data variable or not? So I want to
Yes, sir.
display it. I want to display the content of data. So how it can be done?
Print function.
Print function. Simple. So print of
Data.
Data.
that's it. So you copy this code and run the program in the IDE. Save as file example 6.py. And the program. See here what it is showing.
GVK Ramakrishna.
So this GVK Ramakrishna is part of which file?
File3.txt.
File3.txt. So we are reading the content from
File3.txt.
so that's the output or not? So correct
Yes,
output. Then go to the code again. Sorry, go to the notepad. Now we will see the next example. Now instead of reading the total data from the file, I want to read only few characters from the file. So if I want to do it, how it can be done? Can I
Read
do it with
of
the help
n.
of first function?
No, sir.
No. So which function has to be used?
Read of n function.
Read of n. So n represents what?
Number of characters to be read.
Number of characters.
Number of characters to be read. Okay. So write the logic. Now let us consider the same file again, file3.txt. Okay. So I am reading n number of characters from the file3.txt. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what's the first step?
Opening the file.
Opening the file. Open the file. Open off. Mention the file name from where the data has to be read. What's the file name?
File3.txt.
File3.txt. Then mode has
Read
to be specified.
operation.
So
Read mode.
then what's the next step? Performing of the operation. I'm storing data into the data variable. F dot read of what?
Number of characters.
N number of characters has to be read. Okay. So did I supply n value here? What's the
No,
n
sir.
value here?
So
What is n value here?
Number of characters to be
Yes, sir.
read.
So do I know the value of n?
No, sir.
So what I have to do? I have to
Read
ask
the-
it from the end user or not?
Yes, sir.
Read the value n equal to int of.
Input.
Tell me the logic.
Input.
Enter number.
Enter a number. Enter.
Enter.
Number of characters.
Okay. Whatever you want to give, so that message can be included in the braces. Okay. Then and then
We need
print
to
data.
display the data.
display the data. So print of data. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Copy the code. So copy the code and paste it in the IDE and save the logic. File example 7.py. Then run the program. So it is asking for the n value. So what's the first line? First line is having
GVK.
GVK.
So I'm giving the value as 5 here. Now what it has to display?
GVK R A.
GVK RA or GVK R will be displayed.
GVK R.
So even that enter \n character, that means this new line will be considered as one character. Okay, it counts it as one character, guys. Okay, so let us check. See here.
Only GVK, sir. Why?
Why it is showing? It is showing only GVK. Go to the file 3. Save it. So run the program for one more time. So this is not the program. So go to the code window. Okay, run the program. I'm giving 5. Are you seeing the output?
Yes, sir.
EVK and R is
R.
shown. So if you count the number of characters that is displayed as part of the output, how many characters are seen here?
Here 5.
5 or 4?
4.
Visible characters are only 4.
4.
4.
But what I have given 5. But why it hasn't shown 5 number of characters on the screen? Because it counts that enter character as 1 character. Okay. Are you following,
Okay.
guys?
Yes, sir.
So after GVK, it is moving to the new line or not?
Yes, sir.
So this moving to the new line is considered as 1 character. It counts that character as 1 character. So moving to the new line is considered as 1 character. Okay. Are you
Okay,
following?
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Then
Sir.
we will see the next function. What is the next function?
Read line.
Read line. So I want to read the data from the file line by line. Okay. So let's check. Okay. So here I will write. So f equal to the first step.
Opening the file.
Opening the file. Open off. So I am giving file2 dot txt. Comma. Which mode?
R mode.
Then using which function?
F of read line function.
Data equal to
F dot.
Dot read lines.
So go to file2. Content of file2 is what?
Kittu GVK Godishala.
Kittu GVK Kodishala. So when I'm executing readline method, what it reads?
It reads the data line by line.
So when it is reading the data line by line, so when I have executed the readline method for 1 time, so how many lines of data will be read?
Only 1 line.
One line
Only
data.
1 line. So this Kittu will be displayed.
Kittu.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
After reading the data, so that pointer will be pointing to the next line when readline method is executed. Okay. So let's check.
Yes.
So go to the code window. Okay. Print the data. Print of data. Then again data equal to f dot read line.
Print data.
Then print data. So I'm copying this code for 1 more time and I'm executing the logic. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Copy this code and run the program. So after writing the logic, save the code, file example, .py. Then run the program. So what's the output, guys?
GVK Kittu GVK Godishala.
So output of this print,
Kittu
output of this print,
GVK
output of this statement.
Godishala.
Okay, run the program. Are you seeing the output?
Yes, sir.
This
Yes,
is the
sir.
output which I'm expecting from the program execution.
Yes, sir.
So you will have an extra session in the afternoon. So it will be started at 2:30 p.m. sharply. Don't miss any Python programming session. It is mandatory. Is it clear?
Okay, sir.
So you will be having an extra session in the afternoon. It starts by 2:30 p.m. So if you are having any kind of doubts, you can ask me or else you can leave the session.
Sir, why we are not closing the function, sir? File, sir.
Sorry?
Why we are not closing the file, sir?
So it is mandatory, guys. I have skipped that part. Okay. So simply
Yes.
you can mention what I've just closed.
Close.
If you are not executing this program, sorry, if you are not calling the close function, what happens?
The memory will be
The memory
remain
which is
allocated.
allocated for